Morning and welcome to today's session. I hope you had a great day today. Today shall be continuing introduction to agribusiness management, and specifically we shall go and look at management. So in the outline, remember we looked at we began by covering the introduction to agribusiness and commercialization of agriculture. Then we went ahead and looked at small business management. It was a continuation, and now we want to look at management and decision making. So let's go straight to that. Alright, management and decision making. This is part three. Our objective is to master the core functions and processes of management, planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. So, under management, we have planning, we have organizing, we have directing, and then controlling. All these are the processes under management, and understand how they are applied in agribusiness decision making. We start with definitions and importance of management, the decision-making process, types of decisions, how we look at strategic and operational, then management approaches, how we know of the management-based objectives, quality supports, profit-centered, and so on. Detailed steps in planning, organizing, everything, and controlling, and even key control tools like budgeting and break-even analysis. So, for effective management is what separates a thriving agribusiness from a failing one. It is the science of making optimal choices under resource constraints. Whether you are maintaining a 1 acre vegetable plot or a large poultry operation, these principles are universal. They provide a framework for turning goals into reality and ensuring efficiency and adapting to challenge. So to begin with, what is management? Management, we said, is the art of getting things done for people. It's a science of decision making or choice or task, and we know that it combines human, physical, and financial resources to achieve a goal. So, management is the art of decision making, and also management is the science of decision making or the art of getting things done through people. It combines human resources, physical resources, and financial resources in order to achieve the goals. Think of successful dairy farm and bar. Her success isn't just about having good cows. It's about deciding when to plant pasture, organize the milking schedule, directing her workers, and controlling feed costs. Management is the how behind the what. So we know the activities, and now how do you go on decide when to plant pastures? How do you organize the milking schedules? How do you direct the workers? And how do you control feeds? That's all management. How you go about doing things, the science of decision making, how you make decisions, or the art of achieving goals, of making people work towards achieving a goal, the art of getting things done for people. And we looked at the decision making process, and in chronological order, we start with formulating the goals. Then after you recognize and define a problem or opportunity. After you've made your goals, you see what is the problem or opportunity. Then you obtain relevant information. You specify and analyze alternatives. Then you make a decision from the alternatives that you specified. You implement the action and bear the responsibility. Let's go through it once again. Formulate the goals, recognize and define a problem or opportunity, obtain relevant information, specify and analyze alternatives, then make a decision whereby you choose an alternative. Then after you implement the action and bear responsibility and evaluate the outcome. We know always that after you've done something, then you have to evaluate. So that's the last step. And after you've implemented, after you've done something, the responsibility is upon you. So you come and take responsibility for action. And so we know you formulate the goal, you have your goal, you recognize and define the problem or opportunities. Remember, in business, problems are opportunities. Then, when you're done with that, you go ahead and obtain the information. If you're after you have the information, you go ahead and define the alternatives. Then you choose an alternative, take responsibility for the choice. Sorry, after choosing an alternative, you first take action. After taking action, then you take responsibility, and lastly, you do evaluation. So it's a cycle, it's not a one-time event. The maize farmer in Masaka faces a problem maybe of low yields. So the problem is low yields. He gathers info, maybe soil test, weather data, then analyzes alternatives like maybe changing the fertilizer or trying to use technology. He chooses one, that is the decision. When you choose, you decide it. Then you act on it, that is implementation. And you take responsibility because by after acting is now your responsibility. And after at the end of the season you see you evaluate the results and see if the choice you made has paid off. So there are types of managerial decisions, and we talk of strategic decisions. These are long term, they involve high investment and have lasting effects. For example, buying a farm, or installing irrigation, or diversifying into processing. These are decisions that are long term, they have lasting effects, and also they require initial high investment. For example, choosing a course. If you're maybe deciding on the university you want to go to as a student, that is a very strategic decision because it will determine the work you will do, it will determine how you spend your next maybe 3 to 5 years. So those are strategic decisions. And then in the day-to-day also, they are what we call operational decisions. They are short-term, they are frequent and smaller scale, e.g. daily feeding schedules, when to sell, produce, hiring casual labor. An example for us, our operational decisions may be maybe what to read, where to read from, what to eat for lunch, and such things, where to go and spend our time. Just day-to-day decisions. They are short-term, they are frequent, and they are in smaller scale. While the strategic decisions, they are long-term, they are high cost, and they have lasting effects. So strategic decisions set the course. And a priori in Cameroon, a priori is this is basically a big farm. In Cameroon, deciding to get organic certification is a strategic move. Operational decisions keep the boat sailing, like how to allocate labor among 50 hives. Confusing the two is dangerous. You can't fix a strategic market problem with an operational tweak. Now let's look at the key management approaches. We looked at the management by objectives, MBO. We looked at the quality circles, profit-centered approaches, then SWOT analysis. So to go in depth slightly, under management by objectives, we look at subordinates, setting short-term goals and self-evaluating. This fosters commitment. So under management by objectives, you find that the managers set the goals. Then after the managers have set the goals, even the subordinates go ahead and set their goals. And at the end of it, they are evaluated. They evaluate themselves based on the goals they set. This is very common in most organizations. Then quality circles. Remember in communication, while we looked at focus, group discussion, FDGs. Focus, FGD. Okay, focus group discussion groups or something like that. So that is what sort of they are calling quality circles. These are small groups that work together to solve related problems. They are formed of different people and promote teamwork and continuous improvement. Then under profit-centered approach, this focuses, as the name tells us, focuses on productivity and profitability as the primary measure. This is the most followed among most businesses. You find that many businesses operate based on what? Profit motive. At the end of it all, everything relates to the profit. And SWOT analysis, this is a tool to analyze internal strength, weaknesses, and external opportunities and threats environment. Weaknesses. Strength is something you are good at. Weakness is something you are not good at. Now, when you look at externally, opportunities are things that can give you an advantage, while threats are things that can give you a disadvantage. So SWOT is especially practical before a horticulture export company wants to launch a new product like passion fruit juice. It must analyze internal strengths, skills, staff weaknesses, limited cold storage, external opportunities, new EU market, threats, strict phytosanitary rules. This shapes the strategy of the business. And we talked of planning as a process under management, where this is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and how we'll do it. So planning is just advance. When you're planning, you're doing something in advance. Someone says, "I'm planning what I'll do tomorrow." So you're looking at what you're going to do, how, when, and who will do it in advance. It bridges the gap between the current reality and the desired goals. The types of planning, we have long range planning, which is strategic. We said whenever we talk of long range, whenever we talk of long range, we are looking at strategic. Then short range is tactical or operational. Single use planning is like budgets and projects. This one is not normally recycle them. Then standing use, we have policies, procedures, we recycle them every year. But current policies remain the same. So a farmer in Gulu planning to shift from seasonal maize to year-round vegetable production under irrigation is engaging in long-range strategic planning. The weekly planning schedule for those vegetables is short-range tactical planning. Without planning, you are just reacting. And the other process under management is organizing, which is the creating of structure. You identify and group work, defining responsibility and authority, then establishing relationships. The key elements are departmentalization, delegation, decentralization. And the principles we have unit of command, span of control, and clear authority. So organizing is basically creating a structure. Who reports to who does what, and and how does A relate to B? So it's identifying and grouping work, defining responsibility and authority, and establishing relationships. And we see this can be done by departmentation, where we see, like, for example, at Macquarie University, under KS, we have the DANVE, which is the Department of Agribusiness and Natural Resource Economics. We have DAIS, which is the Department of Extension, and among others. So the principles or under organization, we talk of unity of command. You want the leaders to be united. We talk of the span of control, how much authority does each person have, then we clear authority. As the farm grows from one person operation, that is part two, stage one, organizing becomes critical. A medium-sized figure in Econo might organize in two departments, including production, health, marketing. The owner delegates the feeding authority to a manager, and that's delegation. This creates order and efficiency. And lastly on this, we talked of directing, which is leading and motivation. This involves telling subordinates what to do and ensuring they do it well. It includes supervising, guiding, leading, motivating, and communicating. So directing has two aspects to it. You have to lead and motivate workers. Motivate is like give them a reason to do something. Leading is like telling them and showing them what to do. So you can start by telling them what to do and ensure they do it well. You can ensure this by supervising, guiding, leading, motivating, and communicating. Communication is very important. Sometimes you assume that people do things when they are not told, but you have to make sure you communicate it, and if it's a formal setting, make sure it's written down so that it's clear. So goal-directed behavior is key when directing people. Directing is about influence and persuasion, not just orders. Motivating a structure operating in the form that might involve more than wages. It might be recognition, set working conditions, or involving